My daughter disappeared in 2008, she returned last week, and she hasn't aged a day. It's hard to even write this. I've told the police. I've told a therapist. I even called a priest. No one believes me, not really. But it happened. And I need someone to listen. In 2008, my daughter Emily vanished from our backyard. She was 8 years old. One moment she was playing with her hula hoop under the big oak tree, the next, she was just gone. No signs of a struggle, no suspicious people, no tire marks. She simply disappeared. The entire town helped us search. We had dogs, helicopters, you name it. I plastered her face on every street lamp for years. My husband and I eventually divorced, grief broke us in different ways. I kept her room just the way it was, even when everyone told me to let go. Years passed. I died inside slowly. And then, last week, I heard the doorbell ring at 3:12 a.m. I got out of bed thinking maybe someone needed help or had the wrong house. But when I opened the door, my entire body went cold. Emily was standing there. Not grown up. Not older. Not weathered by time. She was still 8 years old. In the same pink dress with a strawberry patch on the chest. Mud on her shoes. Scrape on her knee. She looked exactly the way she did the day she disappeared. I collapsed. When I came to, she was still there, sitting on the couch, sipping hot chocolate. Smiling. Calm. As if nothing had happened. "Mom," she said, "why are you crying so much?" I asked where she'd been. She said she didn't understand. She said she had been playing in the yard, looked up at the tree, and then the sun looked wrong. It blinked, she said. And then I was on the sidewalk. The doctors say she's in perfect health. DNA test confirmed, she's my daughter. But no signs of trauma, no signs of aging. People have theories. Some say it's a hoax. Some say it's a kidnapping and she was frozen or drugged for years. Some say I'm crazy. But here's the part one can't tell anyone else. The part that keeps me up every night. She's not quite Emily. She hums songs I never taught her. She doesn't recognize our dog's name, the same dog she grew up with. She flinches when I use the microwave. And last night, I found her outside in the backyard, staring at the oak tree. I asked her what she was doing. She said, "He's watching. He says I don't belong here anymore." I asked who. She just pointed up at the branches. There was nothing there. I don't sleep anymore. I keep the lights on. I don't let her out of my sight. But this morning, I woke up and her bed was empty. I found her shoes outside. And beside them, a small circle of dead grass, perfectly round. She's gone again. And I don't think she's coming back this time. Unless he lets her. He said the time wasn't right yet. After Emily disappeared again, I called the police. Again. I knew how it would go, the concerned eyes, the not-so-subtle glances that said, "She's crazy." I told them everything. The same officer who helped with the original case, now gray-haired and slower, stood in my kitchen while I pointed at the dead patch of grass. He tried to be kind. "She was never really back, was she?" he asked. But I knew what I saw. She was here. For 6 days. Eating cereal, watching cartoons, asking me questions about TikTok and smartphones like she was a time traveler trying to catch up with the world. And now, she was gone again. I didn't sleep. I searched the woods around the property. Dug through old journals, local archives, anything that might hint at what was happening. And then I remembered something strange. Back in 2009, a few months after Emily first vanished, I had gotten a letter. No return address. Just a typed note on yellowing paper that read, "Don't dig under the oak tree. He's still listening." At the time, I dismissed it as a sick joke. A cruel prank. But now, I wasn't so sure. The basement boxes. 2 days later, I went into the basement. For years, I couldn't bring myself to go through Emily's things. But something told me to look now. I opened one of the boxes labeled 2008 School Projects and found a journal I didn't remember her keeping. The handwriting was childlike, but neat. And it didn't feel like hers. March 12th. He came again. He says my name in pieces. Emily. Like it hurts him to say it. March 14th. He showed me the mirror again. I saw Mom crying. I told him I want to go home. He said the time isn't right yet. March 19th. He hates the wind chimes. I think it reminds him of home. My stomach turned. Either someone had planted this or something far worse was happening. I flipped to the last entry. April 3rd. I miss the smell of peanut butter and jelly. I miss Mom's red cup. I miss the warm towel after baths. I'm scared he's going to put me in the tree next time. The one that blinks. The therapist. I went to see Dr. Keller again, the therapist who saw me for years after the first disappearance. He was older, a bit heavier, but kind as ever. He listened to everything. Quietly. Without interrupting. When I finished, he sighed. You remember my daughter, Ivy? He asked. I nodded. She disappeared for 18 hours in 2012. Came back covered in mud. Didn't speak for a week. She never told us what happened. Just said, the mirror broke. I stared at him. My skin went cold. Why didn't you ever tell me that? I asked. I thought it was different. But maybe it wasn't. He opened a locked drawer and handed me a folder. Inside were scribbles, sketches, all drawn by Ivy when she was 7. Circles. Mirrors. Trees with eyes. A tall man with no face but a cracked, round mouth. Look at this, he said, pointing to one image. It was a tree, identical to ours, with a human eye inside the bark. He's watching, I whispered. Keller nodded. The return, again. On July 6th, just after midnight, the motion sensor light in the backyard turned on. I watched from my window as a shape stepped into the yard, barefoot, trembling, covered in dried leaves. It was Emily again. But older. Maybe 13 now. I ran outside and wrapped her in a blanket. She was freezing. She didn't speak for hours. Just stared at the microwave clock. Watching the seconds tick. Finally, at dawn, she whispered, he's letting me grow now. What she told me. It took days, but she opened up in pieces. Emily said she wasn't in one place, not really. It was like moving through layers of mirrors. Sometimes she was alone. Sometimes she heard voices. Sometimes she saw people, other kids, trapped behind glass, screaming with no sound. He likes when you forget, she told me. He feeds on it. I didn't understand. Feeds on what? Time, she said. He eats time. That's why I don't age unless he lets me. I asked how she escaped. He was distracted. Something cracked in the roots. She said she heard another voice, not his. A girl. Ivy, maybe. She said she broke a mirror, Emily said. That's why I could run. The truth beneath the tree. With her asleep upstairs, I went outside. Stared at the tree. The one that had always been here. Planted by my grandfather. I brought an axe. The first few hits were normal. Bark. Wood. But then, on the fourth strike, the sound changed. Hollow. Metallic. I cleared the bark and found something buried inside, not metal, glass. A perfectly round mirror embedded in the heart of the tree. It shimmered faintly, even without light. I touched it. And for a second, I wasn't in my yard anymore. I saw myself sitting in my kitchen. But my reflection was wrong. My face was melting. My eyes were crying blood. I was screaming. And behind me stood him, tall, hollow, teeth like broken porcelain. I screamed and pulled my hand away. The final choice. Emily woke up the next day older again. Now 15. Her hair longer. Eyes darker. She said it hurt every time the mirror cracked. He'll come soon, she warned. He doesn't like broken mirrors. That night, she wrote a note and placed it on my pillow. If I vanish again, don't follow. He only lets me return when he's hungry. Next time, he might take you instead. I haven't seen her since July 22nd. But the mirror in the tree shattered that morning. Completely. And on the bark, written in scratches, was a single phrase. The debt is paid. For now. August 4th. This morning, I received a package. No return address. Inside was a photograph. Emily, now an adult, holding a baby. On the back, written in ink. Tell her I love her. And to stay away from trees that blink. She's not the only one who came back. August 17, 2025. It's been weeks since the photo arrived. Emily, older. Holding a child. My granddaughter. I've looked at the picture every day since. Trying to find flaws. Signs of editing. Some trick, a way to convince myself none of this is real. But it is. I know it in my bones. And last night, something new happened. The baby, the one in the photo, showed up at my front porch. Alone. Wrapped in a blanket, barely a year old, a soft red mark across her forehead shaped like a spiral. No note this time. Just a single whisper I heard behind me as I picked her up. She broke the rule. The spiral mark. She doesn't cry. That's the first thing I noticed. She stares, wide-eyed, silently, like she's listening to something I can't hear. I've named her Clara. It felt right. I brought her to the doctor. She's in perfect health. But the mark on her head? No explanation. The pediatrician thought it was a birthmark. But it's not. I tried to rub it away one night. She screamed. Not like a baby, no, this was a sound I'll never forget. It made the mirror in the hallway crack. The boy in the mirror. August 20th. Clara was asleep in the crib I bought secondhand. I walked past the mirror in the hallway and froze. There was a boy inside. Not in the reflection, no. Inside the glass. He looked about 10. Pale. Eyes like pitch. He raised his hand slowly, pressed his palm against the other side. His lips moved. He said. She's not the only one who came back. The lights flickered. I smashed the mirror with a candle holder. It didn't shatter, just absorbed the hit like water. Then the image faded. I moved Clara's crib into my bedroom that night. Emily's voice returns. August 23rd. I heard her. Emily. Not in the house, in the baby monitor. It was 3:11 a.m., and the static turned into whispers. I turned up the volume. Her voice came through clearly. Mom, he's hunting again. He's looking for her. You have to hide her from the oak. I ran to Clara's crib. She was gone. But the window was still locked. Doors secured. I found her under my bed. Wrapped in a blanket, eyes wide open, staring into nothing. She smiled and said, I saw Grandpa. He died in 2006. Ivy's return. I called Dr. Keller. Told him everything. He showed up at my house 2 hours later, pale, trembling. His daughter Ivy, the one who had disappeared for 18 hours in 2012, had gone missing again. She was 20 now. A university student. Gone during a night walk. Shoes left on a park bench. No sign of struggle. But this time, she didn't vanish entirely. Because she came back 3 hours later, in his driveway, looking 7 years old again. Keller said she only said one thing before collapsing. He made a deal. Clara wasn't supposed to leave. The tree is dying. August 28th. The oak tree in my backyard, the one Emily vanished under in 2008, is changing. Its bark is splitting open like cracked skin. Sap pours out, but it smells like vinegar. And the leaves? All turned black overnight. At the base, the ground pulses. Like breathing. And around the roots, that same spiral mark is beginning to form in the soil. I tried to dig into it. The shovel wouldn't go more than 2 inches deep. Beneath the soil is glass. More mirrors. Layered. Like a nest. The man with no mouth. I don't dream anymore. I see. Every time I sleep, I wake up in the in-between, a hallway of endless mirrors. All versions of me. Some are screaming. Some are old. Some are dead. And walking behind me, is him. The tall man with no mouth. No eyes. Just a spiral where a face should be. He doesn't speak. He shows me. Emily, growing older, trapped in one mirror. Ivy, younger and younger. Clara, multiplied in glass, thousands of versions of her, each marked. He shows me myself. Alone. Holding a newborn. He shows me a grave. Mine. The letter from Emily. September 1st. I received a new envelope. No stamp. Left on my kitchen table while I was outside for only 5 minutes. Inside was a handwritten letter. Mom. Clara wasn't supposed to go to you. I made a mistake. I broke a deal. The spiral feeds on broken time. Every time we come back, it fractures the mirrors. That's why he's angry. I had to send Clara away. I thought he'd ignore her if she was far from the tree. But he's in all the glass now. In reflections, windows, puddles, everything. She's marked. Don't let her look at herself too long. Don't say her name after midnight. Don't let her near the tree when the moon is full. And if the mirrors start to hum, run. Love. Emily. The final return. September 5th. Tonight was a full moon. I put Clara to sleep in the basement, away from all windows, all mirrors. But she stood at the top of the stairs just past midnight, her eyes glowing faintly. She pointed to the backyard and whispered. He's coming to take me home. I followed her outside. The oak tree was split down the middle. A gaping wound of mirrored light inside. Reflections twisted and screamed. Emily stood there, grown now, in her 30s. Tears running down her face. I tried to protect her, she said. But he always takes what was never meant to stay. She held Clara. And the baby, still silent. Reached out and touched the glass inside the oak. And then they were gone. No flash. No sound. Just wind. The spiral mark in the grass vanished. Today. It's been 2 weeks. No sign of Clara. Or Emily. Or Ivy. But the mirrors in my house don't reflect correctly anymore. They're slower. Lagged. Like they're trying to catch up. And last night, I saw something in the reflection of my microwave. A crib. A spiral. And a note, floating in the air. She's still yours. But only if you forget her. I haven't looked in a mirror since. But I hear one humming in the hallway. And I think it's almost time to choose. Forget her. Or follow. The mirror doesn't lie, it remembers. September 18th. I hadn't planned to go through the mirror. I hadn't planned on anything anymore. I lived in silence for days after Clara vanished again. The house was hollow. No baby cries. No laughter. Just the slow hum of mirrors, yes, humming. Like tuning forks vibrating at some frequency I couldn't hear but could feel in my bones. On the 18th, I woke up and found my hallway mirror had changed shape. It had grown taller. Warped at the edges like it had melted slightly. And the reflection was wrong. In the mirror, I wasn't alone. I stood side by side with Emily. She looked exhausted. Her face pale. Her eyes wet with tears. She mouthed 2 words. Come now. Preparing to leave. I didn't pack. What was I supposed to bring into a world of mirrors? Instead, I cleaned the house. I folded the blankets. Left out fresh water for the birds. I wrote a letter, in case someone, somehow, ever came looking for me. I've gone to find my daughters. If you find this, smash the mirrors. All of them. Burn the roots of the oak. And never speak their names after midnight. It's not just about time. It's about memory. He feeds on the moments we try to forget. Then, at midnight, I stood before the mirror. It rippled when I touched it. And I stepped through. The between. I expected pain. Cold. Screams. But stepping through the mirror felt like slipping into a warm bath of static. There was no ground. No sky. Just reflections. Endless versions of me, floating in shards of light. Some smiled. Some wept. Some were dead. And above us all, a presence. Watching. Pulsing like a heartbeat inside a sunless sky. I saw Emily again, running between mirrors like doors. She was older now. 40s, maybe. Her eyes lit up when she saw me. You made it, she said. He didn't stop you. Where's Clara? I asked. She's safe. But she's becoming. Becoming what? Emily hesitated. The first one to leave him, and not forget. Clara's transformation. We found Clara sitting beside a frozen lake, inside a reflection of our old living room. She was no longer a toddler. She looked about 6 now. Hair longer. Eyes sharp. When she saw me, she smiled. Hi, Grandma. She remembered me. Emily knelt beside her, touched the spiral mark on her head. It's fading, she whispered. And it was. Slowly unraveling like a burning fuse. She's breaking the rules, Emily said. Every time she remembers something real, love, warmth, names, the spiral weakens. The voice of the spiral. That's when he came. Not as a figure this time, but a voice in the sky. Deep. Cold. Like thunder cracking inside a glacier. You are memory. You are the flaw. We ran. Mirrors shattered as we passed. Each one showed a different version of our deaths. Emily drowning. Me burning. Clara fading into dust. Return the girl. Or become the next. I stopped. Held Clara close. No, I whispered. She's mine. And you can't have her. Then forget. Or be forgotten. The sacrifice. Emily turned to me, crying. There's only one way. She explained that the spiral feeds on cycles. Disappearances. Returns. Regrets. It loops over and over because no one remembers long enough to break it. Unless someone chooses to anchor the memory. Someone has to stay, she said. And hold the door open. Forever. She kissed Clara's forehead. Hugged me once more. Then stepped into the spiral. Light exploded around her. Mirrors cracked. And then, everything stopped. The return. I opened my eyes in my backyard. It was morning. Clara was asleep in my arms. No spiral on her forehead. Her breath soft and steady. The oak tree was gone. Nothing but a patch of fresh earth remained. All the mirrors in the house. Just glass again. Cold. Silent. Emily didn't come back. Today, 1 year later. Clara is 8 now. She laughs. She cries. She goes to school. She sleeps through the night. She doesn't remember the mirrors. But sometimes, when it rains, she hums a song I don't know. And one night, she told me this. I saw Mommy last night. She's in the stars now. Watching. Smiling. Final entry. I kept one mirror from that world. Hidden behind a false wall in the attic. Every year, on Clara's birthday, I go and look. And sometimes, just sometimes, I see Emily. Still holding the door open. Still remembering for all of us. And the spiral? Gone. At least for now.